Okay, good morning, future nurses. And now let's proceed to our next discussion in terms of the component of research. Our learning target after these presentations, you will be able to explain the basic components of research, give the types of assumptions, describe the types of research, reflect on the significance of the study, state the scope and the limitation of the study, and explain the section of research report. These are the table of contents of our component of research. We have your title of the study. Chapter 1, we have the introductions. Chapter 2, we have the review of related literature. Chapter 3, we have the research methodology. Chapter 4, we have the results and discussions. And lastly, Chapter 5, the summary, conclusion, and recommendations. But these semesters, we have only 4 chapters. So we already removed the chapter 2, which is the review of related literature. It should be incorporated already into your chapter 1, the introductions, which is the rationale and background of the study. Okay, let's start with talk about the title of the study. So the title of the study, the research is title is explicit and formal statement of the research topic, and it is generally written in the phrase form and not in a sentence form. So sabi ko nga, a research title is a short and a formal phrase that clearly tells what your study is about. It's not complete sentence, it's just a phrase. Why is the title is important? So number one, it gives people an idea of what your research talk about. Second, it helps others know if your study is relevant to their interests. And lastly, we have the qualities of the good title. So it should be number one, it should be simple and concise, that is easy to understand and not too long. It should be clear also. Readers can easily tell what the study is about. And three, we have the reflects the variable. So it shows the main topics or elements that is called variables that your research is focusing. Okay. The title of the study, number one, palagi po nating tatandaan, it should be melody. Melody. M is for meaningful. It reflects the main idea or purpose of the study. E, which is engaging. It captures attentions and makes the reader curious to know more. And then we have L, we have laconic or concise. Keep it short and straight to the point. Preferably mga anak, 12 words or less. And then O, we have original, avoid cliche, make it sound unique and specific to your research. D, we have descriptive, clearly show the variables or key concept in your study. And then why your voice. The title should reflect your focus, not too general, not copied. Okay, punta naman po tayo sa chapter 1, which is the introductions. The introduction, this is the compositions. We have the rationale and background of the study, theoretical and conceptual framework, the research paradigm, the statement of the problem, hypothesis of the study, assumption of the study, significance of the study, scope and delimitation of the study, and definition of terms. So, isa-isahin natin ito mga anak. Number one, we have your rationale and background of the study. So these parts explain the reason for doing the research. So it answers two important questions. Una, tanungin natin, why was this study needed to fill in the gap in the scientific knowledge? Or why it is important to fill this gap? Okay, so how to write it? So, umpisan natin mga anak, start with the big, which is the global perspective. Begin by talking about the issues in the worldwide context. So, for example, globally mental health concerns among college students have been rising. And then, pwede rin po yung zoom in from national to local. Then discuss this issue affects your country, region, or school or community. So for example, in the Philippines, many students experiences anxiety due to academic pressure at Lyceum Northwestern University. Similar patterns are very observed. And then we have your present the gap. So talk about it's not yet studied or missing in the previous research. So example, although many students exist, few focus on how mindfulness help nursing students specifically manage the anxiety. And other one, we have explain why the gap needs to fill. So say why this missing piece of information is important to know. Example, understanding this can help school create better mental health program for nursing students. And then, importante rin po dito mga is cite the studies. Okay? Use published studies like the books, articles, or thesis to show to support for your claims and to show that the issue is real and worth exploring. So in summary mga anak, ang rationale and background of the study, global to local context of this issue, existing problems and current situations, gaps in knowledge or research, and reason why your study is important, and variables and factors related to your topic. And lastly, it should be supported from the published studies. Ayan, kung makikita nyo on your screen, ganyan po yung pagsulat po natin ng ating rationale and background of the study. What is known, what is unknown, and how, why should we fill the gap. So what is known? This includes the facts, studies, and information already available about your topic. So you can gather from these books, journal, government and school reports, or research articles. Okay, so yan po yun. And then we have your what is unknown. In what is unknown, this is the gap. What has not been studied yet or what needs more understanding. So this is your justification for doing the research. Okay, and then lastly, how and why should we fill the gap? So explain how your study will help to address the unknown and why it is important to do so. So here, mention how it can help your school, the students, or the community, or the future researcher. So ang final tip ko lang dito mga anak, make it flow like a story from general knowledge, the missing piece, and why your research is the solution. So yan po yung ating pagsusulat in terms of rationale and background of the study. Next one, we have the theoretical and conceptual framework. In the theoretical and conceptual framework, this is the skeletal model of the research or foundation guides. So if the theory are directly referred to, then the research study uses theoretical framework. Pero if the research study is based on the concept, then use the conceptual framework. For example, theoretical framework provides the foundation or backbone of the research. It is like the map that shows where your study fits within the big world ideas and knowledge. So for example, theoretical framework broaden scope. It deals with general principles and big ideas. Yan po yun. And then general and less structured. It gives a wide overall view of your topic, not too detailed. And then loosely defined. So it introduces ideas or concepts that are still open for discussion or debate. And then we have your derived from existing theories. These are not theories, they come from the past research or experts in your field. And then we have your basic foundations. In the basic foundations, these sections helps explain why your study makes sense based on already existing knowledge. And then we have your starting point. It introduced the ideas or assumptions that led to your study. Okay, and then prepares the reader. It makes your reader understand what to expect in your study and helps them follow your argument better. So ang tip ko lang dyan na in theoretical framework, choose a theory that matches your research topic. Then explain how this theory connects to your study and help guide your questions or assumptions. While in the conceptual framework, this conceptual framework is a visual and logical structures that show how the different concepts in your studies are related. It more focused and detailed than the theoretical frameworks. So narrower in its scope, it focuses only what is directly relevant to your study. Very specific, it clearly identifies the exact concept that you are going to study. Yung structure naman niya mga anak, usually shown as a diagram or chart showing the relationship between the variables and no ambiguity. Okay, everything is clearly defined. There is no confusion what was the term or concept mean. And then based on your study, it is built using the actual variables or elements found in your title, problem, or objectives. Ang pinaka-tip ko lang dito mga anak is Think of conceptual framework as a roadmap of your research. It helps the reader understand what you are studying and how the pieces fits together and what the relationship trying to explore. Okay, let's try into the deeper one. We have in the theoretical framework, we use the SEC approach, which is state of the theory, explain the theory, and contextualize the theory. In the state of the theory, begin by explicitly naming the theory and acknowledging it is the foundations of your study. Use of any of the following suggestion phrases. So for example, the theoretical basis of this paper is health-belief model, or pwede rin mong sabihin, the paper is theoretically anchored on Bandura's social cognitive theory. Or pwede mo rin sabihin, this study is premise on Maslow hierarchy of needs. Or pwede rin yung the research draws from ecological system theory. Yun. That is the state of theory. And then we have your explain the theory. So that is briefly describe the theory and its major components or construct. This help readers understand the theory structure of the purpose. Okay, for example, the health belief model, di ba, suggests that individuals are more likely to engage in health-related behavior if they perceive themselves to be at risk. Okay, believe the consequences are serious and view the benefits of action as outweighing the barriers. So, yan yung explain the theory. And then lastly, we have your contextualize the theory. Explain how this theory relates to your topic and guides your research. So, it connects in your variable, setting, or study purpose. So, sasabihin mo lang dyan, in the context of this study and adolescent vaccination behavior, the health belief models provide a useful framework to explore how perceived susceptibility to illness, so on and so forth. So, yan po yung contextualize the theory. Yan po yung sinasabi nating theoretical framework. And then, we have your conceptual framework. How to write the conceptual framework? Siyempre, we start with the introduction, which is the purpose of the framework. So, start with a short paragraph introducing the purpose of the conceptual framework in your research. And then, the purpose of this conceptual framework is to provide a structured explanations of how the key variables of this study interact and contribute to addressing the identified research problem. So dito rin, it serve as the foundation for analyzing the data or drawing connections and guiding the interpretation findings. So yun yung una. Number two, state the research problem or questions clearly, identify the specific issues of your studies address. So this study seeks to determine the relationship between the academic stress and coping mechanism among nursing students during the clinical internship. So yan po yung example of state of the problem or question clearly. And then third one, we have define and describe the key concept or variable. So list and describe the main concept or variable involved. So for example, kanina yung academic stress. Tapos, i-define mo lang siya, that is, refers to psychological pressure and tension experienced by the students. And then, yung coping mechanism, pwede mo rin siyang i-define as a refers to the behavioral and psychological strategies used by the students. Okay, and then yung clinical performance. So, it depends upon how you use these words. And then, pupunta ka na ngayon sa specify how this concept and variable will be measured. Okay? Or operationalize. So, explain how each variable will be measured or observed. And then, we have your last one, we have your visual representation. So, create visual representation of conceptual framework. So, usually, you can do or make your own visual presentations based on your concept. So this is the example of the research paradigm. So yung research paradigm is a diagrammatic presentations of the conceptual framework and research title. So it provides a visual and operational illustration of how the variables necessary are interrelated. So it helps reader understand the flow of the research process from inputs to outcomes and ensure alignment with the title, conceptual framework, and statement of the problem. So usually, it can be, there is a common format and common structure. So there are different types of diagram or paradigms, But most of common structures include yung IPO model. Kung maalala nyo yun, yung IPO, input, process, and output. So, usually, ganyan yung ginagamit. Or yung IVDB model, yung independent variable and dependent variable. And then, meron din yung tayong yung pangatlo, yung modified input, process, output, or dual paradigm. So, depende na po yan sa mga inyo, mga anak, kung ano yung research paradigm or how you explain or make it your own conceptual framework of your research. Okay, so ito, the research paradigm, so you can make your own symbols. For example, the circle one, that is intangible variable, not directly observed. And then we have your square, the tangible variables, that is directly observed. And then the straight line, which is the direct relationship, and indirect relationship is the broken line. Okay, punta naman tayo sa statement of the problem. So we have your main problem and we have your sub-problem. In the main problem, that is the declarative statement. So this is broad statement that reflects the central focus of your research or your study. It must be consistent with the title, reflect the general objectives, be specific and clear, and avoid ambiguity and overly technical terms. Okay? So yan po yung ating main problems. In the sub-problem, that is specific questions. So these are the stated in interrogative forms and should be represent the specific objective. Sabi ko nga, it should be clear and distinct, no overlapping. Not be answerable by yes or no. Reveal relationship, differences, or effects among the variables, and yon. So yun yung kwan natin. So ang sub-problem. So, example, di ba? What is the level of academic stress experienced by nursing students during the clinical internship? What coping strategies are commonly used by the nursing student in response to academic stress? O, ganyan. Pero yung sub-problem nyo, it should be answer from your main problem, which is the declarative statement. So, dapat nagre-relate pa rin siya yung inyong main problem to the sub-problem. Okay, we have your hypothesis of your study. A hypothesis is a tentative explanations or educated guess about the relationship between the variables. So it provides a testable predictions that can be proven true or false through the statistical analysis. So always remember, it is formulated when the statement of the problem includes determining the significant relationship or differences. So in quantitative research, mga anak, it is often expressed a null hypothesis. Ano ba yon? Which state there is no effect or no relationship between the variable. Okay? There are types of hypothesis. Una, yung null hypothesis. Statement states no significant relationship or no significant difference. We have also yung alternative hypothesis, that is state that there is a significant relationship or difference. So usually this is implied, not always written unless as. Yan po yun. And then another type of hypothesis, kung makikita nyo on your screen, we have your directional hypothesis and non-directional hypothesis. Pag one-sided alternative or directional hypothesis, that is predicts the direction of the relationship or differences between variables. So it states how one variable affects another, whether positively or negatively, increases or decrease. So usually used when past research or theory strongly support a specific outcome. Kapag sinabi naman natin non-directional hypothesis na, that is two-sided alternative, so predicts a relationship or difference but does not specify the directions. So it only states the difference or relationship exists, not whether it is positive or negative. So used when there is limited or conflicting evidence in the literature. Okay, punta naman tayo sa assumption of the study. In the assumption of the study are the statement taken as true for the purpose of conducting the research. So they are not tested or proven, but are accepted as a basic truths that support the study's foundation. Ang key features natin dito na do not require proof, stated in a clear and simple language, can relate to participants. It should be honest and cooperation. Setting, instrument use, general conditions surrounding the study, typically listed or enumerated. Inclusion is optional but recommended to clarify expectations. So that is for your assumption of the study. Next one, the significance of the study. Explain why the research matter, who will be benefit from its findings. So it identifies the values, relevance, and contribution of the study to society, specific institutions, sectors, or individuals. So ang structure niya, you may organize it either the following ways, from macro to micro. So start with a broad audience, then narrow down to specific groups. Pwede rin yung micro to macro. Start with immediate stakeholders and then expand the discussion to the larger communities. So what to include? Relevance to the society or public interest, contribution to existing knowledge or literature, utility for policymaker, educator, institution, or researcher, how the results can be applied or implemented, or specific beneficiaries. But in the College of Nursing, in the significance of the study, we use the three: the nursing practice, the nursing educations, and then the nursing research. So, yan po yung lalagyan po natin. Ano yung significance niya or important niya into practice, into educations, or into the research one. Next, we have your scope and delimitation of the study. Pag sinabi nating scope, mga anak, defines the coverage, focus, and boundaries of the study. So explain the study is about, what is intended to achieve, and the variables, populations, and time frame. So it includes dito na, una, what the study investigates. So it either the topics, variable, or phenomena, objectives and goal. Pangatlo, geographic coverage. So either ba, region ba, city ba, or institution. Time period covered. So example, school year ba, 2025 to 2026. Target population or sample. Sino yung mga population natin? Grade 12 student, elderly patients. Ayun. So yan mo ilalagay mo doon sa scope. Pag sinabi naman nating delimitation, mga anak, refer to the boundaries that you, the researcher, intentionally set. So these are the choices and limits you made to narrow the scope or open for feasibility. So example, it includes indemnification, what the study does not cover, constraint due to time, resources, or access, decision like limiting the sample to a specific group, methodological choices, so excluding qualitative data or only using survey. So that is for scope and the limitations of the study. Pagdating naman sa definition of terms, na this section present the operational definitions of the key terms used in the study. So these terms are defined as specifically used in the context of the research to avoid ambiguity. Terms from the title, statement of the problem, and chapter 1 are included. So if a term is defined lexically or conceptually, it must be properly cited from the reliable sources. Ulitin ko, if a term is defined lexically or conceptually, it must be properly cited from the reliable sources. And then the terms are listed alphabetically. Tips ko lang mga anak ha, in definition of terms. Define only relevant and central term. Use operational definitions, how the term is used in your research setting. For the terms borrowed from the theories or literature, cite the author and year. If you use standard definitions, which is the lexical, cite the dictionary or sources. Okay? Next one, let's proceed to the chapter 2, which is the review of related literature. Okay, the related literature, mga anak, is a retrospective presentation of the past study, theories, and scholarly materials that provides strong evidence or supporting evidence, conceptual background, or contextual understanding that is relevant to the research topic. So it helps anchor your study on established knowledge, identify research gap, and justify the need for your investigation. Okay, so this is the guidelines for writing the RRL. Number 1, organize thematically. So group similar topics, ideas, or variables together. Use thematic headings or subheadings. Okay, and then synthesize. Don't just summarize. compare and contrast the finding, highlights the agreement, contradictions, and gaps, and show how reviewed literature relates to your study. And then third one, use updated literature. Focus on the studies from the last 5 years. Older sources may be used if they are foundational theories or landmark studies. Okay? Fourth one, use reliable sources. Peer-reviewed journal, academic books, government and institutional reports. Avoid Wikipedia blogs or non-scholarly articles. And then, cite accurately. So, use consistent citation format. Usually, ang ginagamit natin is the APA format. So, include the text citations and ensure they match the reference list. Next one, we have your research methodology. And research methodology, it composes the research design, sources of data, instrumentation and data collections, and tools for data analysis. Okay, sa research methodology natin mga anak, gives an explicit representation of the research plan, the research design, and the sources of data. Okay? Isa-isayin natin. Okay, in the research design, it is the overall plan, structure, or strategies chosen by the researcher to integrate the different components of the study in a coherent and logical way. So it serves as a blueprint that outlines how data will be collected, measured, and analyzed to effectively answer the research problem or hypothesis. So it is important to specify and describe the most appropriate research design for the study, as it directly impacts the validity, reliability, and generalizability of the research findings. So, researchers are encouraged to consult reputable sources and books on the research methodology to ensure the chosen design aligns with the specific objectives and nature of the study. So, maalala nyo naman na pinag-usapan natin yung research design or type na pinag-usapan natin last time. We have the quantitative and qualitative research. And then mamili po kayo doon what is specific type of research that you use. Kung qualitative pa kayo or quantitative. So kung quantitative, there are different types. Qualitative, there are different types also. So nag-input yan na sa research design na gagamitin natin. Okay? Next one, we have the sources of data. In the sources of data, refer to the origin or provider of the informations. Use the answer research questions or test the hypothesis. So, this can be categorized into primary and secondary sources depending on how the data is obtained. Diba? Napag-usapan natin din last time what are the different sources of data. So, sinabi natin before, in the primary data, these are the first-hand original data collected directly by the researcher from the sources for the purpose of the study. Tapos pag sinabi naman natin secondary data, these refer to pre-existing data that were originally collected by someone else but are relevant to the present research. Okay? Huwag natin kalimutan yun. Okay, next one. We have your instrumentations and data collections. This section describes the specific tool or technique used to gather the necessary data for the study. So it provides detailed account of how the instrument was developed or chosen. So how it was validated and tested for reliability and how data collections was carried out. For example, in instrumentation, the research instrument is the tool to collect data. It may be questionnaire, it may be interview guide, observation checklist, test, or any tool suitable for the research designs and objectives. Okay? And then we use standardized instrument. If a validated and published instrument was adopted, the sources must be properly cited and the modifications, if any, should be explained. Okay? Yun kapag ang kanyo ay adopted. Pag self-constructed instrument man mga anak, if the tool was developed by the researcher, the process construction must be explained including the structure, scoring, and objectives of each part. Okay, example, a researcher made a questionnaire consisting of 3 parts: demographics, academic workloads, and coping mechanism was constructed based on the review of existing related literature and expert recommendation. So, ngayon, magkakaroon tayo ng validity. Content validity. So, in-ensure natin that the instrument measure what is intends to measure. For self-constructed tools, content validity should be established by consulting a panel of experts in the field. Okay? Okay, example, the questionnaire underwent content validations by 3 experts in psychology or educational research. Their suggestions were incorporated to enhance the clarity and relevance of the items. Okay? Pag sinabi naman nating reliability mga anak, refers to the consistency of the instrument. So this is often tested through a pilot survey or trial testing with a small sample similar to the study populations. For example, you have your pilot study was conducted among 30 students, not included in the actual sample. So there is the internal consistency. The instrument was measured using the Crobans alpha, yielding the reliability coefficients of 0.89, which indicated mga anak the high level of reliability. Okay? So yun po yun. Pagdating naman sa data collection procedure mga anak, this outlines how, when, and by whom the data were collected. So paano ba yung mode of administration natin? The finalized questionnaire was administered in person during the scheduled classroom periods. Participants were briefed on the purpose of the study and gave their informed consent. So, data gathering personnel. If assistants were involved, they were given written instructions and were oriented regarding the ethical considerations and standardized procedure in questionnaire distributions. Okay, in the data collection kasi mga anak, nasa inyo po yan, kasi in-person po yan. Pwedeng in-person, pwede rin Google Forms. So, depende po sa inyo kung ano yung applicable or possible na pag-gather po nyo ng data. Okay, ang summary tips ko lang dito ng instrumentation and data collections, explain whether the tool is standardized or self-made, state how validity, the expert validation, and reliability, the pilot testing were established, detail how the tool was administered, to whom, when, and under what conditions, and then mention if assistant helped in the data collection and how they were trained. So yun lang mga tips ko dyan in instrumentations and data collections. Next, tools for data analysis. This section outlines the statistical techniques and methods applied to analyze the data gathered in the study. So it described the specific statistical use, their corresponding formulas if applicable, and then the rationale behind the selecting of each tool in relation to the research problem. Research sub-problem or objectives. Okay? So usually ginagamit natin kapag quantitative man, we have the statistical treatment of data. So gumagamit tayo ng descriptive statistic were employed to summarize, organize, and describe the characteristic of the collected data. So, usually, yung ginagamit natin dyan mga anak, frequency and percentage. So, that is for categorical data. For example, the gender, year level, or responses, if yes or no format. Tapos, gumagamit din tayo ng mean, median, or mood for determining the central tendency of continuous or ordinary variables. So, usually, ito yung question mo, yung sumasagot sila ng Likert scale na 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tapos, i-check nila kung 5 is highest, 1 is lowest. And then, gumagamit din tayo dito ng standard deviation to measure the variability or dispersion or responses from the mean. And then, we have your inferential statistic were used to test the hypothesis or examine the relationship or differences among the variables. So, yun. Meron ding t-test, ANOVA, or Pearson R. So, and then chi-square. So, maraming tools or gagamitin natin dito in the differential methods and formal use in data analysis. So, dapat nakakma ito palagi sa sub-problem po natin para hindi po tayo malito. Okay? And then, each tool kasi manak was chosen based on the type of data and the specific research sub-problem it address. So, wag po tayong gumagamit po ng research tool na for data analysis na hindi naman po akma doon sa ating studies. So, there is a specific topic in terms of tools for data analysis or statistical treatment. So, ituturo ko po sa inyo sooner or later. So, ang tips ko lang dito mga anak, clearly match each statistical treatment with its related sub-problem. Provide justification for choosing each statistical test and specify rating scales and their descriptive interpretation if used. Okay? Next one, ayan. Chapter 4. So chapter 4 naman mga anak, we have the results and discussions. Okay, in the results and discussions, this present the study findings. Okay, systematically or organized based on the sequence of the research sub-problems outlined in the statement of the problems. So this chapter not only shows the result but also provides a comprehensive analysis and interpretations to give context and meaning to the idea. So kapag nagkakaroon tayo ng presentation of result na, the result is presented in a logical and coherent sequence that is aligned with each research questions or sub-problems. So kapag may data tayo, may be displayed using the table. Kasi yung table, presenting the numerical data in an organized manner. Pwede rin graphs or charts for visual representation of trends, comparisons, or relationship. Pwede rin yung text for summarizing and highlighting the key findings. So, every graph map, there is a textual explanation of each table or graphs. Each table or figure should be numbered and titled clearly. Okay? Followed by the brief textual explanation emphasizing the key data points, trends, or findings. Okay? And then, andun rin po yung analysis and interpretation. So, after each textual representations of the data, an in-depth analysis must be provided, identifying the patterns, relationship, or notable results. Where applicable, the findings should be compared to related literature or studies discussed in the review of related literature. Interpretation should aim to answer the research question, validate or refute hypotheses, or provide insight related to the study's objectives. Okay, yun yung tatandaan po natin. So, ang important guidelines ko lang dito na be objective in presenting results. Do not exaggerate or speculate beyond what the data shows. Maintain consistency in formatting the tables and figures. Avoid repeating the exact content of the table in the textual explanation. Highlight and interpret instead. Okay? And then ensure all the data interpretations are grounded in evidence and when necessary supported by theoretical frameworks or previous research. Yan lang po yung ating results and discussions. Okay, another one, the results and discussions accompanied by in-depth analysis or interpretation of the data. So data are systematically discussed based on the sequence of the research problem, sabi ko nga, and identify the statement of the problem. So dyan yung pumapasok yung sinabi ko kanina, data presentation and statistical description, which is the data may be presented through the tables, figures, and textual descriptions to enhance clarity and comprehensions. Okay? Huwag po natin kakalimutan, statistical description should be declarative in statements. And all statistical findings should be reported using the declarative sentence, avoiding fragmented or overly technical statements. Okay? Kapag yung naman na, kung mayroon tayong ginamit naman natin yung qualitative, the data interpretation and thematic analysis, interpretation should be go beyond the mere description of the data and involve critical analysis of what the data implies in relation to the research questions and objectives. Interconnections between the among variables or categories must be explored to real patterns or reveal patterns, relationship, or constraint. Interpretation must be logically structured, clear, and relevant to the study's objectives. And also, we must need to linkage with the literature. So, the findings must be compared or contrasted with previous studies discussed in the review of related literature. This contextualization helps determine whether current findings support, refute, or extend the existing knowledge. Okay, and then lagay din po natin yung implications of the findings. So the implication of the findings should be discussed in relation to theory, practice, or policies or future research. Consider how the findings contribute to the understanding the phenomena, how they might be informed to the future decision making, and what changes or intervention may be warranted. Okay? Next one, in the chapter 5, we have the summary, conclusions, and recommendations. Okay, so the summary of findings, it should be written in the paragraph form instead of enumerations. And it gives the description of the problem, research methodology, and the findings. So there is no explanation should be made. So yung findings natin should be presented in order with sub-problem they answer in chapter 1. Only important findings, highlights the data upon which conclusion will be based should be presented in the summary. Findings should be stated concisely as possible and not explained nor elaborated in the chapter 4. No new data should be introduced in this section, mga anak. No deductions, inference, interpretations, nor generalization should be made in this section. So, ang key points ko dito, mga anak, na paggawa natin in summary of findings, do not interpret or explain the findings here. Avoid using phrases like this mean that or this implies. Follow the exact order of your research questions and use only the concise and objective language. Okay? Next one. In the conclusion naman, mga anak, there are brief generalization statement into the main problem and specific subproblem based on the finding. But, however, it is not must give conclusion on one-on-one correspondence with subproblems, and all variables can be subsumed in one paragraph. Usually kasi yung conclusion nagagaya nila doon sa summary of findings. Conclusion should be formulated concisely, and no conclusion should be drawn from the implied or indirect effects of the finding, and conclusion not be repetition of any statements. Okay, ang key points ko dito, mga anak, reminders: avoid copying findings word for word. Use fresh wording, and avoid repeating previous text exactly. Keep the tone factual and data-based, not speculative. Make generalization but only for the populations that was studied, and do not introduce any data or interpretation in these sections. Okay? Next one. In recommendations. In recommendations should be based on the findings and conclusion of the study. Recommendations for things not discussed in the study are relevant. It should be specific or general. Include suggestion for future or further studies or the continuance of good practice, and should be written in non-technical language. And recommendations must be feasible, practical, workable, and attainable. So yung ginagamit natin yung SMART. So ang reminders ko lang ulit na in written your recommendation, stay within the scope of your research finding and conclusions. Avoid proposing anything you did not study or measure. Write in plain, clear language for broad understanding. Ensure your recommendations are realistic and implementable. Okay, and then pinakalas natin yung bibliography. This should include all the material used, reviewed by the researcher, arranged in alphabetical order with respect to the names of the authors. And this should include all the work cited in the thesis, and APA style for bibliographic entries ang gamitin natin, mga anak. And then, i-attach din natin yung sa last part, which is the appendix. So, yung appendix natin usually includes letters and other forms of communications, instrumentation use, sample computation, or additional tables, figures, or plates. So, yan po yung inclusions ng appendix. Okay, so thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something in regards of the component of research. Thank you for listening.